are listening to episode 508 of Hilary Topper on Air, the Endurance Sports Edition. Today's guest is Darren Lancaster. He's the CEO of GoSleeves. And let me tell you a little bit about GoSleeves before he comes on. I just want to say that for the record, I have tried so many different compression sleeves. My knee has been just totally a mess, and I keep trying all these different compression sleeves. And I was at the running event in Austin last year, and I met the guys from GoSleeves, and they gave me a sample. I didn't open it up for months, and then I finally opened it up, and I realized that it's actually a thick material. It's got kinesiology tape inside of the sleeve. And when I put it on my knee, I could feel the tingling sensation. It actually helps my knee. And during two of my recent runs, both in May, one at the Hudson Valley Marathon and one at the Chicago 10K and half marathon, I wore the GoSleeves. And you know what? I PR'd those two events. So I am a big proponent of GoSleeves, and I even have a discount code. So stick around and listen for the discount code after the interview. Darren, welcome to the show. So to kick things off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what motivated you to start GoSleeves?
Well, believe it or not, I'm originally a computer engineer, and turned out to be pretty okay, just okay at tech. And over the years, that sort of progressed into becoming a lot more interesting and good at marketing, and then eventually became a serial entrepreneur. So I've started a number of different businesses or co-founded a number of them, and was lucky enough to have a successful exit with one of those businesses, which led me foolishly to believe that this was easy. And and now I got flipped it around to the other side. So I would say to anybody who isn't fully sadistic, that entrepreneuring is a really, really bad idea. But if you're down with, maybe it's similar to an ultra marathon runner. If you're down with the pain, have a slightly sadistic side, then yeah, entrepreneuring could be for you. So Go Sleeves was really born out of a team of ours that I created a marketing agency. We were helping other brands, startups, all the way up to billion-dollar brands, with their e-commerce, with building their brands. And as a team, we started talking about, we've got this amazing marketing and branding engine. What should we be doing with it, potentially, for ideas that we have? And Roy Carrillo and I, we've been playing basketball together for over 15 years as a group. And Roy's background, he played college basketball, a little bit of professional basketball in the Philippines. And so his body's been through a lot over the years, and he was having a hard time just staying on the court. I was at times having a hard time, between basketball and hockey, different sports that I play, similarly, just staying active, staying healthy. And so really his idea was experimenting. He tried every type of sleeve, every type of tape, every type of implement, every type of solve, formulation, balm. And really had never sort of seen this combination that we tried literally in his garage. We built and tested putting kinesiology tape as a technology into compression sleeves, something that we hadn't seen other than just trying it ourselves. You could tape yourself, put a sleeve on, but you'll find that the tape doesn't stay on very long. Um, so yeah, it was born out of that, just experimentation. And we put it on some of our guys on the basketball court and just learned and experimented, and it kind of took off from there.
Wow, that's a great story. Well, I was talking a little bit about in the beginning in my introduction about my personal experience with GoSleeves, that I found it significantly beneficial during the Chicago half marathon and the Hudson Valley Marathon race, because I've been suffering with severe knee pain and I need to get a knee replacement. So I want to ask you, talk a little bit about the technology behind GoSleeves. We know that it's kinesiology tape. We know it's compression sleeves, but how does it specifically help athletes manage pain and enhance performance?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm going to speak to what happens mechanically inside of our sleeves, but it's also the same concept, same mechanisms as what has been in kinesiology tape now, studied and proven for decades. So if you're lucky enough to be watching this on a video, I'm holding up a knee sleeve by GoSleeves. And when I turn it inside out, as you're aware, Hillary, we have these glistening medical grade silicone strips. And so there's a silicone that's inside of the sleeve, and that silicone pattern, it's a pattern that mimics if you were to be taped up by a physical therapist or a chiropractor or an athletic training coordinator. This would be the design, if you will, for your knee to target all the key muscles, ligaments, and tendons in and around your knee. So when you pull this sleeve on and the silicone goes on the skin, the more you stretch this sleeve, similarly, if you've had KT tape on your body, it's stretchy. So when it goes on the skin, just like the sleeve, it's stretching the skin. So it's instead of just most sleeves are going to slide and glide across the skin.
Mhm.
The kinesiology strips inside of GoSleeves are going to really treat friction with the skin, and it creates what we call skin drag. Doesn't sound too pleasant. And it takes a little bit to get used to. I'm sure you took a little bit of time just to break in the skin and get acclimated to it. But the beauty of it is that as it drags that skin, as you're moving, it's dragging that skin, it's actually creating space in the skin tissue. So in your case, and we do have a lot of people that, unfortunately, similarly to you, it's kind of like, I'm going to put off that knee replacement for as long as I can. If not, who knows, right? I may just choose to go on without it. Um, but you're dealing with at times, pain that probably modulates between maybe a level 2 or 3, because it's probably there on some level almost all the time, up to maybe an 8 some days. And so by creating space in the skin tissues, we're actually taking pressure off the pain receptors. It's just a mechanical thing. It's not magic, but it does create and perceive a perception of less pain because of that less pressure on the pain receptors. And then the second thing is kind of more of a psychosomatic thing. If you think about what happens when if you bang your knee into something, the first thing you do is you bend down and grab for your knee, reach for it, because our impulse is to comfort. So, we kind of hug that area where we got injured. It's a comforting mechanism. Compression sleeves create that sort of hugging effect. And so you feel better. The additional mechanical things that happen in the body with the kinesiology strips, by stretching and opening the skin, and the drag that's happening there, is we're opening up the capillaries so you get extra blood flow, and then we're opening up the lymphatic drainage system, which allows the body to drain lactic acid much faster. So by getting all of the waste out of the tissues faster, increasing blood flow, you personally, when you run in GoSleeves, you're going to experience less of that inflammation that would come from what's happening in your knees, less of that fatigue, and just overall less pain, and hopefully an ability to push a little harder, a little farther than you would have ordinarily. And that's when using them for training or activity. When you're using them for afterwards for recovery, it's just helping the body get all of that inflammation, tightness, and fatigue out much faster.
I've been also using GoSleeves in triathlon, so I'll swim with it. I use it on the bike and obviously for the run.
Mm.
So, can you talk I mean, first of all, it's what's interesting to me is that you could use this in the water and it keeps it's it just keeps. How does that work?
Well, part of it starts with we really built a premium grade sleeve, so it's really the knitting and the technology that we built in. It's very durable, as you know. It lasts a very long time, but that also means that um, let's put it this way: if you've had a sleeve on that doesn't stay in place, you're kind of like, what's the point? So it sort of starts there, but then additionally, the silicone really and the sort of adhesion to the skin that the silicone provides really allows it to stay in place. Um, just much better than you will have experienced with other sleeves. Um, and then yeah, I think that what you're experiencing is that generically this mechanism that I'm speaking of, where we're stretching the skin tissues and creating more blood flow, creating more lymphatic drainage. And there's this additional impact called proprioception. We're actually triggering the neural receptors in the skin, which creates this sort of attentive path between the central nervous system and that area. Overall, all of that in total just makes you feel better. All right. When you're either during recovery, and a lot of our professional athletes or people who are doing a lot of volume, they might just use the sleeves only for recovery, because I just personally tend to not want to train or play or be active in the sleeves. That's fine too. The goal is to be at the top of whatever your capability is and comfortable. So, in your case, you've gotten comfortable being in them, swimming, biking. The beauty of that is in our performance tests, what you're able to achieve is more because of the impact of what the sleeves are doing in terms of that your readiness, right, and limiting that inflammation, tightness, and fatigue.
I mean, they are so different than any of the other sleeves. I actually have the black one.
Hmm.
What's interesting to me is that they're thick. They're not
Mm.
like the typical compression sleeve where it's thin. This is still durable, but it has that thickness, which I think is really an asset to the product. Could you talk to me a little bit about some of the feedback that you've received from other athletes who have used Go Sleeves?
Absolutely. We had a video shoot um, 2 weekends ago, right before the NFL season, with two of our brand ambassadors. They are starting offensive linemen with the San Francisco 49ers, Jake Brindle and Colton McKivitz. And so, we talked to them about the entire last season, the preseason, and what their experience was. And like as an example, I won't go into too many details, but one of them, the way he gauges his readiness for the season is how his Achilles feels coming into the season. And, with the Go calf sleeves, you've got protection and targeting of the calf and the Achilles and shin splints. And so his default during the preseason is the recovery cream and the sleeves for 2 to 4 hours. Even as an NFL player, your preseason is training and then meetings, and then training and then meetings. And as he's cycling back and forth, if he's not in the sleeves during training, he's in them every time he's has an opportunity to help the body recover. And as he came into last season and then came into this season, thankfully the Achilles was feeling good. So, okay, I feel like I'm going to come into this season feeling ready. And so, overall, the feedback he was giving was, I noticed, in fact, I asked him, tell me about your first week in GoSleeves. I met him in the preseason. This was Jake Brindle. Tell me about your first week experience in GoSleeves. And he's like, actually, it was the first day. That day, I know my body. I listen to my body. I know how it's going to feel the next day. And the lesser amount of tightness and fatigue that you feel, the better prepared you're going to be. As an athlete, anybody who's building up their body and putting it under stress, every day or every other day, when you go back and push the body again, if you feel that tightness, if you feel that fatigue and let alone pain, then what you know is there's inflammation there. You haven't gotten it completely out of the body. And unfortunately, that does lead to increased risk for injury. And it definitely impacts your performance. So when we're trying to manage the load, it's called load management, as we build up every single day that impact on the body. We're trying to take it out of the body and get back to the baseline as much as possible. And that's what I hear from athletes that are everywhere, everything from 150 NFL athletes who are some of the top athletes in the world. Some of the top endurance runners, and I have a few of these people behind me right here, down to those of us who are just weekend warriors or evening athletes. And the point is just being in the games, being at the top of your game, whatever that is for you. That's the experience, and that's what we love to hear, and we hear it all the time. In surveys, we know that our audience and our users report 60% less use of pain medications. That's huge. We really want to take pain medications out of the diet, and 60% less pain and inflammation, tightness, and fatigue. So it really is making a measurable impact, even in our surveys to our user base.
I want to come back to that, but before we move on, I have to say that I am so appreciative of our sponsors and must take the time out to thank them. Please support our sponsors and tell them that you heard about them on Hilary Topper on Air. Special thanks to the Russo Law Group, PC, Long Island Signature, Estate Planning, Elder Law, and Special Needs Law Firm. Also, PlayTry, Swim, Bike, Run, a retail and online bike shop and multi-sport specialist. Metadyne, injury prevention and pain relief products, and Vimazi, pace-tuned running shoes. And now back to you, Darren. So you were talking a little bit about different conditions and injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us exactly what GoSleeves would be most effective? What type of injury, what type of conditions it would be most effective for?
To be fair, we tend to not think about it so much as a band-aid, but more in a preventative, recovery-oriented mindset. So yeah, I think overall, the Go sleeves that we currently have in terms of products, they're available for your elbow, they're available for your knee, they're available for your our calf sleeves target, as I said, the calf, the Achilles, the shin splints. So of course, anything that's being impacted in those areas where you feel limited, where you feel like if you have pain, if you have fatigue in those areas that really drives towards pain, then you're most likely fighting inflammation. And the combination of our all natural recovery cream and the sleeves together for any level of pain, any level of inflammation, it's really first and foremost targeting getting the inflammation out so that then the body can truly recover. That can be from just volume, or it can be actually an injury that's producing pain. But really our motivation is more around not being in pain, not being limited. That's really the goal. You're going to see a lot more products and a lot more deform factors coming from us that address this more preemptive, proactive way of thinking about it, such that anytime that you can alleviate that tension, that tightness, fatigue you feel in the body, anything that works for that is a good thing. So as long as when you pull on a Go product, you feel that as someone who listens to their body, and this is a practice we all have to kind of work on, but as you learn to listen to your body, you learn to know the difference in how your recovery practices are impacting the body. And those recovery practices are just so important. And it's one of the key things behind our mission. It's why we work with a lot of younger athletes down to even middle school, high school age, trying to get them into practices where they listen to their bodies and don't just accept. Some of us who are a little bit older in sports, we remember those days of in sports. Don't complain. Don't talk about the injury. Don't talk about how sore you are. Rub dirt on it and get back in there, or you'll be not participating. You'll be riding the bench, and it's a little different now. Right? I think we're starting to get a little wiser that as athletes, our bodies are, it's about taking care of our bodies 24/7. And so what we do when we run, what we do on the field, what we do in the gym, um, what we do overnight, what we do in our recovery practices matters just as much. That's starting to really show up, I think, in our awareness and our strategies. So, um, yeah, I flipped your question around a little bit there, but yeah, I really hope that people would think less about the toleration of pain and more about how we can improve our recovery practices so that we don't have it in the first place.
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious, any future developments coming up that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, and yeah, we this is Um, the timing of this is funny. You'll be hearing a lot more about this soon. So you're getting this a little early, but absolutely, we've been testing and prototyping lighter weight, breathable materials. As you know, as you experience and you alluded to, it's our current compression sleeves. They're kind of this maximum therapeutic impact. So they're very nicely knitted. They feel so sort of comfortable as far as like a therapeutic combination of that compression with the skin stretch. But um, if you're a football player or somebody who just, I kind of get swampy in there, I get a little hot, I would have rather have that much material on me all the time than something lightweight, breathable, something that feels like a skin on top of your skin is what you're looking for. So yes, we have leggings and tights and other form factors coming to where you can feel like, okay, I'm just wearing my leggings, but now they have a therapeutic impact, right? Instead of just kind of feeling comfortable, now they actually have this kinesiology technology built into them. And that's really going to impact your performance while you're competing. And just to give a little bit of data to the performance impact, we ran a test with a bunch of kids in a baseball speed camp over 2 days recently in Phoenix. And we were using a system that's also coming out from Go. We have a technology partner. We call it our Go Kinetic IQ system. So within 10 seconds of walking towards an iPad, you can get a quick 3D kinetic chain assessment, which measures your risk of fall. And so before the camp, most of the kids are 0% risk of fall. They're in good shape. And then we had half the kids in the sleeves during camp, the calf sleeves, half not. So about a 3 to 4 hour camp of getting pushed hard. And you can imagine what that feels like on the body. And then we measured the risk of fall again, 10-second measurement. And the kids that were not in GoSleeves, their risk of fall went from 0% roughly to a 16.2%. So that a 16.2% risk of fall after the camp. And the kids that were in GoSleeves went from 0 to 0.4% risk of fall.
Wow.
So it just kind of starts to give you some indication of when we can limit the impact on the body, on the tissues. Certainly, we're going to see better in performance, and so we're trying to bring those form factors that people want to wear a little more regularly than the current sleeves.
Very interesting. You know, there's a a role, and it's funny that you mentioned this because my next question was about wearable technology. Wearable technology is so big in sports and fitness. Do you see there being a role for gold sleeves with wearable technology in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are already combining this capability of different designs, different ways to put this technology on the product on the body that just helps the body do what it naturally does, but more effectively and faster, right? So we're not doing anything that's, this is non-pharmaceutical type of stuff, right?
Mhm.
But we're combining that capability with these measurement systems, which I think is so important that we're guided by data, guided by science. And so like this kinetic IQ system, the testing that I'm talking about. It's also you're seeing even wearable technology that has sensors built into the materials. We're all the time trying to understand how the body is impacted. Um, so yeah, I think, but it's interestingly, it was really headed and continues to be headed in this direction of like, let's have the sensors on the body, and that type of solution can be intrusive at times and can be expensive. And now I think we're headed a little bit more towards this idea of let's let the body just sort of be and not saddle it with expensive technology, but let's put it through some processes and some protocols, and then let's measure before and after and see what the impact is. And I really think that's where things are headed. And as Go and with our technology partner, you'll see more of that coming to where we're going to be. We work with pro sports teams, we work with collegiate sport teams, all the way down to high school level teams. This technology is getting so easy and affordable that to be able to be data driven in terms of how to take care of your body is totally realistic now. We don't have to guess about our kinetic chain and our performance anymore. So so yes, on the wearable tech, although to an extent, almost like pulling back on that and saying, you know what, we don't have to overdo it there because we've got a lot of really good technology that just go out and have fun and not be wearing all this expensive technology on your body all the time. That's where this is headed, I believe.
Great. Well, thank you so much. This has been such an informative discussion, and I truly appreciate your time. Could you tell listeners, where they could get in touch with you if they need more information about Go Sleeves?
Absolutely. In fact, we have, as you can, if you're looking at the video, you'll see this that we look like twins here with our GoSleeves hats on. But Hilary is a fantastic and amazing partner to GoSleeves, and so my suggestion would be to go to gosleeves.com/Hilary, and as a partner, you can use her partner discount code. You'll get 15% off your order, and that's going to be the best way to purchase the product. We're also available on Amazon. We're also available in some of the higher end running stores around the nation, but I think gosleeves.com/Hilary is going to be the simplest way to do it. And yeah, I think continuing to follow in your footsteps with your experience, you've done an amazing job telling your stories around why and how Go Sleeves help you. And I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
The people that follow you can also learn from you, and that's critical.
Absolutely, and I definitely, have benefited from Go Sleeves, and I am an advocate for the product, and I'm so incredibly, grateful that I met you guys at the running event in Austin, last year. That was a great win for me, and it was funny because it did take a little bit before I actually opened the package. Once I opened the package, I was like, "Wow, this is incredible." So, thank you. This show was produced by Hilary Topper and sponsored by the Russo Law Group, Long Island's signature elder law, estate planning, and special needs law firm. For more information, Visit vjrussolaw.com. Also, Vimazi, the shoes I love to train in. Go to Vimazi, VIMAZI.com, and check out my website at atriathletesdiary.com for a special discount code of 25% off of all Vimazi products. Also, Metadyne. It's an incredible company for all your injury prevention and pain relief products. I have a discount code of 20% off of them as well. You can go to metadyne.com for more information, or again, you can go to my website at atriathletesdiary.com/discounts to get a discount for any and all Metadyne products. And PlayTry, your multi-sport specialist for all your triathlon needs. They have so many opportunities, including franchising. If you love the sport of triathlon, check out playtry.com and learn more about opportunities, or if you want to shop there, check them out. They've got great prices and they've got amazing customer service.